Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Elseworlds Exchange. I am Sal.
And I'm Joel, back again.
Hey, back again. Tag team, back again.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be talking about a new phase from Marvel, but we're going to create our own.
Because why
That's
the
the
hell
idea.
not?
Why not? Exactly. I got a bunch of parameters in place that are arbitrary, but they're really just to keep the conversation going.
It's good to have them, too, because, that's where creativity comes from. Sometimes you got to limit yourself.
Exactly. So, and the other thing is, so this is a phase from Marvel that we're pitching in which it takes place after Secret Wars, but we're not doing X-Men because we know if we were like, obviously we're going to include everything that they have. The phase would be X-Men, New Mutants, X-Factor, Excalibur, X-Men Blue, X-Men Red. Like, it would be a mess.
And that's too easy.
It's too easy. It's just like, who do you want to see being an X-Man? That's not anything.
Exactly. So, I mean, that could be a whole other conversation, a whole other show. Let us try and do a phase minus X-Men. Now, that's not to say we won't have some new stuff. Hey, we can play with Fantastic Four stuff now.
Oh, yeah. I'm trying not to, just make it a Fantastic Four-centric kind of thing.
Likewise here. Like, we could have made it all about Doctor Doom if we
wanted. Yeah.
Or Galactus.
I remember pitching that years ago. I was like, the phase should just be Doctor Doom versus the Marvel Universe. And every Marvel sequel they do is just them versus Doom.
And it's not unlikely.
To seed Doom and make him, formidable and interesting.
Because he's literally one of the most well-known, recognizable supervillains. He is synonymous with supervillainy, really.
Exactly.
You don't get more supervillain than Doctor Doom. It's peak S-tier villainy.
Right? It's in the name. It's in his look, his delivery. It all works. The parameters are just it's not really Phase 6, but it is.
It's an alternate Phase 6.
Exactly. Like, what if they're not ready for X-Men, so we're filling it in?
This could also be really funny looking back at this to see if any of this actually does look like what Phase 6 could look like, or we could be totally off base because it looks like with those last two Avengers movies, they're going to be using Shang-Chi for a bunch of stuff. It looks like they're throwing a lot of interesting ideas in there, and I feel like the face of the MCU is going to look really different.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. No, I have a feeling that our phase will look nothing like what Marvel does, and that may be to their detriment, but I also don't want to contribute to the disappointment of the audience. But hey, you know what? This is just us spitball, and this is the kind of episodes you like.
We're being idea guys. We're using our whole brains. We're using our wealth of comic book knowledge and general fanishness to try and put it together. If they gave us $1 million a piece and 24 hours and said, "Go build us a phase,"
build a phase from start to finish that has a beginning and an end and does something, and it has to be its own thing. It builds off what we have, but it has its own thing, so that the stage is set for us to go Fox characters.
Yeah.
Okay, we can do that. That's not to say a couple of Fox characters might not pop in. Who knows as we go through this. But we should also mention this show is sponsored by viewers like you. Watching the show live? Probably not, because you didn't get the notification. But hey, if you are, you can use Super Chats, ask a question or comment. We'll read it here on the show. Obviously, you're going to have them. But otherwise, afterwards, you can just watch. So, yeah, let's jump into it. All right, so here we go. This is the phase. So this is after Secret Wars, after all the fallout from whatever they do with Secret Wars.
All the Kangs and all the incursions.
Exactly. Forget the Kangs and stuff. We're just going with, this is the next big bad setup.
Fresh start.
Yeah. Now, we were inspired when we were kind of having our little internal meeting about this whole thing. We were like, what should this feel, this tone, this theme be? And before we knew it, we were neck deep in alternate futures.
Yes, let's make it dark. Let's make it apocalyptic. Let's maybe actually trick the audience into thinking that this might be the end, that we might actually blow it up and might be done with it after this. Obviously, we won't be, but as we have seen time and time again with comics, dire stakes and the end of all things is usually a pretty good sales motivator.
Exactly. But this is a phase that's going to make you, as the viewer, as the fan, hopefully tense as opposed to uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But it
And
is an uncomfortable phase.
indeed, and they've dipped their toes into stuff like this before. That first season of What If, of course, very famously did a lot of cracked mirror stuff, a lot of dark possible what if futures. But I say, let's bring that into the world of the movies and let's even crank that dial up further.
Exactly. This whole phase is like a season of What If, kind of.
Yeah.
Don't worry, we did think about the audience that is not interested in going along for the ride, that only like picks and chooses. Some people who are like, oh, I've only seen the Guardians movies.
Which I think those people are more vocal now than ever, and you can really tell with the Twitter discourse where it's like, oh, you don't watch everything. I can tell. I mean, I guess it's a little much for me, whose job it is to do all of this and keep this straight, to think that other people have the time and, disposable income to keep all this straight. But I can truly tell by your comments.
Exactly. So we launched this thing with a solo movie that is also straight up not a solo movie.
Which is the new thing now they kind of do.
Exactly. But this also presupposes the idea that Marvel finally gets their act together and cleans up the rights for this character. So we open with Hulk. Hulk gets his own movie, and unfortunately, we can't go to Sakaar, or maybe we will, but we can't go to Sakaar.
Maybe they already have by this point too, because again, it seems like they're cleaning up the Hulk rights. Because if they didn't, they wouldn't have had him be such a big part of She-Hulk and plant all those seeds.
Yes, but this is a story you're familiar with, but we're going Marvel Studios with it. We're changing up the name, so when you hear the name of this movie, don't immediately think of the comic book associated, because we're Age of Ultroning this bitch.
Yeah.
So this is Hulk Contest of Champions.
Such a good name, Contest of Champions. How have they not used that one yet? That just warms my nerdy heart every time I think Contest of Champions. And honestly, every time they've gone back to the Contest of Champions, well, I think they did a book. It was to tie into one of the mobile games forever ago, but it wasn't too bad, actually.
There's another one coming up. So
is there really?
Oh, yeah. It's not called Contest of Champions. It's called Contest of Ages or something. But it's coming out, I think, this summer or something like that. But we're doing that.
I mean, it's a good gimmick. It works.
Exactly. But this Contest of Champions is more like the more recent Contest of Champions that came out from Secret Wars, because it is facilitated by our phase-long villain, the Maestro.
Yes, because who doesn't love the Maestro? What a perfect, big overarching chapter villain, because they're as strong as the Hulk. They're as smart as Banner. They're evil and eloquent, but also very different from what we've seen with Thanos and Kang. Because, Thanos is like, oh, I must cure the world by killing half of it. And Kang is like, oh, I must stop the incursions, but I'm really fighting myself and I must preserve timelines. You don't get that with Maestro. With Maestro, it's just like, no, I'm the best in the world. I have conquered this world. I have conquered this universe just to prove that I can.
Exactly. And it of course, because it's Hulk and it's building off of one of the most famous or infamous or beloved Hulk stories by Peter David, we're dealing with Hulk facing his worst fear, which is not necessarily going savage or going crazy or destroying a city. It's about going bad. It's about letting his hate and his inner turmoil get the best of him and become the worst enemy the Marvel Universe ever faced.
And again, they planted seeds with that in She-Hulk too. And it's like, oh, it was really easy for you to get your Hulk side under control, but really hard for me. Ooh, I think I have some unresolved issues I probably need to deal with. And then Maestro, hey, it's me. I'm your unresolved issues.
That's me. I'm all of it. None of it ever worked out. We had a love of our life and we just completely abandoned her. And then we had a dalliance with an assassin. We've never settled down. It's always just been one crisis after another. So
it'd be a great way too to even dig into Banner's, origin story in early days, maybe his abusive father, which the MCU movies never really touched on. The other ones did, but these ones didn't.
That's true. So this is our opening movie. It's Hulk Contest of Champions. What is the Contest of Champions, Joel?
Well, I mean, it's a battle royale. It's a wrestling match. It's the Maestro saying, you know what? I have conquered everyone in my universe, so I must send my emissaries elsewhere to collect fresh blood and new challengers to battle each other for the ultimate right of fighting me, really. That's the prize. At the end, you get to fight me, and you won't win. but
Yeah,
it'll be fun anyway for me
exactly.
and my subjects.
Yeah, and of course, this is how he pulls in his younger self, and so we have both Ruffalo's face to face. We get a fun new MCU design of the Maestro, but also you give an opportunity for Ruffalo to play a sadistic bastard like the Maestro.
Which I think he would be good at because Ruffalo does have a dark side in some of his other movies there that I think he could tap into.
It's true. Yeah, no, and I think he'd welcome the opportunities. And I think that the audience would really like it too because they'd be like, "Wow, like that's kind of neat." Normally I only see him kind of like being passive or submissive, but this is
Mhm.
a very assertive, crazy, scary Hulk, and it also puts the Maestro on people's radar, on the new audience's radar.
And as we've seen with Jonathan Majors, it's totally cool for one actor to double dip and play double, triple, quadruple roles so long as they bring something fun and new to it.
Exactly, and we're only asking him to do two characters, but
Mhm.
the Contest of Champions also lends itself to being a kind of an epic in its own right, but works in a way that like Thor: Love and Thunder I don't think really did, which is like a big story that is universal spanning and has crazy ramifications, but is at the heart of it about this one guy
Mm.
and his crippling insecurity about his own power.
And it's a
And
sports movie too, is what it is, because
true.
you got tournament brackets and everything else. And I would say you should actually get someone to direct that who has directed other sports movies, and kind of use, that,
Oh.
storytelling, narrative driving device.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. So, what else does this lend itself to getting? You got the contest champions. Who are our champion? What kind of champions are we looking at here?
Oh, this is where you have all the fun in the world because it means you can cast and double dip from across the movies and the TV shows and get
Yeah.
people to come in and put new spins on old characters. I thought it would be fun again because we're leaning so much on Hulk stuff. Let's actually get Jen Walters in here from the show, but she's not Green She-Hulk, she's Savage Gray She-Hulk.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, that'd be fun. And you have the opportunity to really make this like a Hulk movie as opposed to like a Captain America Civil War where it's like Avengers two and a half,
Mhm.
where you're really drawing from the Hulk pile, especially because this is our first celebratory. Here's our version of the Hulk universe that we can play
Naturally.
with. So we can get all kinds of Hulks in this. And I think a great opportunity would be to use Savage She Hulk, especially because I don't want to see Gray She Hulk in the main universe anyway.
It
So
would be more fun here in the Contest of Champions setting. Also, too, hey, let's get Liv Tyler back, but not as Red She-Hulk. Let's get her back as Harpy. Let's really deep cut this and have Liv Tyler be a gross bird monster.
I think she would welcome the opportunity just because it'd be a weird choice for her. And then, hey, if we want to bring Liv Tyler back into the MCU, she can just look worried and be a regular person and doesn't wear all those ping pong balls. Like in this movie, she gets to go for broke.
Yeah.
And then in the other one, you get to go like, oh my God. Like when Liv Tyler, Betty Ross is doing stuff in the future of the MCU, she's having fun and she's being, a brilliant scientist, but we know that there's something bubbling under the surface. Like
That
if
she could be
only for a
something
bit of
else.
gamma, she could be nuts.
Hell, I say make this the beginning of her arc across these movies, and then by the end, when we do our big Avengers team up, let's have her be good guy Red She-Hulk by the end of
Yes.
it. Proving that we have changed the Maestro's history and the Maestro's plan, and that we are not slaves to fate and time, and that we are masters of our own destiny.
Exactly. Exactly. Do you have a list of people you want to see in this one? Is it like let's hear the roster here.
Yes, I do. Well, I mean, keeping with the Hulk characters, I think now would be the time. Let's introduce a Rick Jones as A-Bomb.
Yes, please. We need the Rick Jones in this universe. You could get anybody from Stranger Things to play Rick Jones.
You could. Any of those kids are good. In fact, hey, make Rick Jones important to the plot. Say, well, what made Maestro insane? What made him break? Well, you see, in his world, he had a Rick Jones. He was kind of his center, his best friend. But then he died because of his work with the Avengers. He was taken away from him. And the banner of that world just never recovered.
Exactly. Wouldn't it be great to actually see the Maestro's like, oh, you got yours from like a lab accident? Mine
Yeah.
was a bomb.
Exactly. Yeah. Make it that this Maestro is actually much closer to the comic.
Exactly. By the way, I think Steve Harrington would be a great Rick Jones. Joel Keery, I think.
That's fun.
Joe Keery. Yeah, that's
I
it.
can
Yeah.
see it. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it a lot.
But yeah, Rick Jones, he can be A-bomb. Like, it'd be great to have him be Rick Jones and have it like you're thinking, oh man, he's just gonna be Rick Jones. And then boom, A-bomb.
Yeah, I'm the abomination of my. Oh, you introduce him playing the harmonica.
Love it. Love it. Yeah, you had a couple other fun. Well, okay, so it's not all Hulk characters. I like the idea. You had an idea of a Hulk, of an MCU Hulk character, a character who faces the Hulk in both Thor Ragnarok and the Avengers. That would be neat in this.
Yes, I thought, let's dig deep in this, because in every great sports movie, you need your ringers, you need your crazy like third act, like, oh crap, who's this person? I didn't expect them. Let's get worthy Loki in there. Let's get Tom Hiddleston with the hammer. Why don't we? He's from a world where he was worthy and he picked up the hammer.
Yeah, and if you've ever seen the behind the scenes for the auditions for the original Thor movie, you know that Tom Hiddleston auditioned for the role of Thor in the first place. He's ripped.
Yep.
It'd be neat to see Hiddleston just go full Thor with it. And it gives him an opportunity because, he did the voices in the cartoon. He's been in all the movies. He's had his own show. He's having a season 2. He's not against playing Loki as long as there's something interesting or new to do with it.
It could even be a short one too. Like they could fight for a bit and then worthy Loki, because he's a good guy and well-adjusted, is like, all right, I'm done. I'm out of here.
Absolutely. So,
and obviously you got to get Cosmic Ghost Rider in here too, because I figure if we're doing the Maestro as like, the guy who rules the universe at the end of time, obviously we should steal some good ideas from Thanos Wins, and who was Thanos's right-hand man in that one, but Cosmic Ghost Rider. He's the one who goes and kidnaps people for the Contest of Champions, and he's the mini boss before the boss.
Yes, he's the Scourge from Thor Ragnarok, but also he's not thrown away for no reason.
And he can be funny too, because Cosmic Ghost Rider's kind of funny, so you can have a serious villain and a funny villain.
Absolutely. And what's great is you don't show who Cosmic Ghost Rider is. You just use Cosmic Ghost Rider because we have a plan. We have a plan. Unlike Phase 4, we've got a plan here. So that's your first move. That's your out of the gate. Oh my God, it's a Hulk movie and it's a Hulk extravaganza. You bring back Betty Ross. You cast Rick Jones. You set up the Maestro. You've got a couple of other like tidbit Marvel characters. Loki is our like kind of Captain America cameo. It's like the only cameo we're really going to get out of like the Avengers roster. And we also introduce Cosmic Ghost Rider. And he's not huge. He's just in it. He doesn't take center stage. He's in it and he does his thing.
He's Boba Fett in the original Star Wars. He's hanging around. He's looking cool. And you're like, what the hell is that guy's deal?
You're just looking at him like, what is that all about? Exactly. So your next movie, you want to like kind of continue the trend of like, okay, you had your Avenger. Now we're going to give you an idea about what this is all about, this cracked mirror phase. And that would be the irredeemable Ant-Man.
Yeah, so the idea being that Hulk beats Maestro, he frees, all of the people from the contest, and ooh, this pisses Maestro off so bad, where it's like, oh, you've shamed me, my younger self. Now I'm going to take it out on your entire timeline. All your friends and teammates will suffer now, and maybe he's got like a secret, deeper dungeon where it's like, this is where I kept all the worst horrors that I've collected, and then he like breaks glass, and then that, is your inciting incident for all these other movies.
Exactly. So Irredeemable Ant-Man is your like kind of, we've done everything we can do. After seeing Quantumania, I can tell you we've done everything we can with Ant-Man movies.
It kind of feels that way. And as much as I love Paul Rudd and as much as I would hate to see him go, I think it would be very fun that we flip the script on this one and we get Eric O'Grady, he's got a sleek black suit. What's that? He's committing real crimes and doing real evil things. Yeah, that's right. Ant-Man is the villain in this one, actually.
Yeah, exactly. I like the idea that maybe Eric steals the suit from Scott as a kind of like full circle Ant-Man movie kind of situation.
Or maybe Scott dies in the field. He gets like crushed and murdered, and Eric is there as a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent because maybe S.H.I.E.L.D. is back by now. And he's like, I'm just going to take that.
But introducing your like anti-protagonist as like a kind of subversive, like, oh my God, am I really rooting for this guy kind of way is very like, I think the tone of this phase, which is just kind of like, I'm having fun, but like, should I?
Yeah, that also means you can have a heroic antagonist in Cassie, who I think should be all grown up now because we're jumping around in time and space. And she is now officially the Ant-Woman because with her father dead, she has adopted that title for herself. And hey, fun thing too, Eric's got to be stealing something because it's all about theft, these Ant-Man movies. he's stealing the Ultron parts is what he's trying to steal. And at the end, maybe we do some sort of version of Pimtron.
I like the idea of at least bringing Ultron back, and I really like the idea of there being a movie that uses the themes and hallmarks of its like structure. Ant-Man movies are heist movies,
Yeah.
and explain that Ultron was off the table, but now he is back because of someone screwing up or actively trying to bring him back, so that Ultron can be an antagonist in the future. By the way, I think that if we are going to do that, obviously we're seeding the next phase. Ultron needs to go into space. We need to have future, like space Ultron.
Oh, yeah.
I'm on the fence about Pimtron because I think that what's his name? I know that Michael Douglas wants to die in these movies.
Well, that's how you do it.
Kill him off. Absolutely.
Yeah, you die, and we bring you back as a horrifying robot that wears half your face, Terminator style.
Exactly. I don't know if, well, I don't know if he wants to show up anymore. So it's like you could have him be trapped in there or die, and then have him come back in like one tearful cameo or something.
It's got his heart. What about that? Ultron opens up his chest. And he's like, and I stole his very heart.
Exactly. Sure.
Ha ha ha.
Exactly. So that's your like kind of smaller, no pun intended movie. Another one that I thought was important that we get in there is space. We need to tackle space, but we're not.
Yeah.
Again, if you're just new to this episode, we're trying not to rely on or lean too heavily on the X-Men. We can use them, but if we do, that'll take over the phase. So. Yeah.
We gotta have a good reason to do it.
Yeah, we can tease some stuff, but like we're not going to go full X-Men or full Mutant or full Fantastic Four even with it. So the next one, if we're going to go space, because I was like, oh man, if you're going to retire the Guardians, do the Starjammers, and let's just move on. But if we're going space, this is a great opportunity for us to give us a Silver Surfer movie.
Yeah, which I think a lot of people are hungry for and have been waiting a long time for.
Yeah, and the Silver Surfer movie could be anything.
It really could be.
So I'm just taking the title everyone likes, and it's going to be called Silver Surfer Requiem.
Nice.
And it's just about Norrin Rad. Maybe it is his origin. Maybe the whole damn thing is like we watch Galactus go to Zenla.
Yeah, Zenla.
And he chooses Shalabal, and he he goes and becomes the Silver Surfer, and he destroys planets. Maybe it's Silver Surfer Black.
Yeah, because again, if we're stealing from Thanos wins, but we're just putting the Maestro in there, it would make sense to have that, because obviously in that story, Silver Surfer Black was like one of the last things that was still fighting Thanos, but like still wasn't winning.
Exactly. I think that Silver Surfer Black is also, if you remove the null element and MCU it, and I'm saying remove null not because I think that null is not worth using, but also because I think that if you're going to MCU it, he has to defeat Null at the end, and MCU doesn't understand that you can like defeat someone without killing them. So instead, you grab a powerhouse from space that they can kill, that you can like stand to lose, and make it about that. But so Silver Surfer is a movie. I don't have a cast for that, but just like you do that. So it's like, oh man, like this winter, Silver Surfer Requiem. You know what I mean?
You kill a couple birds with two stones there too, because again, it's a space movie minus the Guardians. You can go all sorts of places. Hell, get Molecule Man in there, get Gladiator and the Shi'ar Empire in there. You can set up a lot of different stuff in that. And it's an origin movie because usually they throw in a couple origin movies here.
Absolutely. No, and I think that's important. I think that we've seen what a Fantastic Four movie that introduces Silver Surfer is, so let's do something else. Give Rad something like that's his own. The next one up, obviously, we still have a contract with Sony, but we're making a Spider-Man trilogy. That much is clear. But this phase, I don't want it to be like Spider-Man 3.5 or 4 or 6 or whatever. And we want it to kind of fit in with this whole dystopian kind of like cracked mirror crazy version. So let's just go full Spider-Man 2099 with it.
Absolutely. Again, we get to cast a fun Miguel O'Hara. I know the
Oscar Isaac plays him in the animated series. It's fine.
Can we just get him? Would anyone care? Would anyone complain?
Right? Would anyone complain? I mean, he's Moon Knight, but like whatever.
Again, we can double dip. That's the whole point of this. We're double dipping. It's cracked mirrors. It's dark futures. It's whatever we want it to be.
But just Spider-Man 2099, and it's just Blade Runner. Like it's just a dark, effed up, anti-corporate
cyberpunk
movie.
Here's the question, though. Does Miguel O'Hara come back in time to modern era to warn people about the Maestro and how messed up the future is going to be? Or do we maybe take Tom Holland and bring him to 2099?
I think we could do either. I mean, like you could easily Spider-Man 2099 as Tom goes to the 2099 universe, and you basically do a kind of like messed up Spider-Man meets Spider-Man 2099 story where there's something that happens in the past that makes my future, and it's all because of like this rift in this in Alchemex,
and obviously Maestro will replace Doom in this thing because he's the one ruling over the dark 2099 future.
Exactly. But you really play up the like maybe fish out of water with Tom, or you just go full 2099 with it, and at the end Miguel and Pete meet somewhere in the middle, and Pete gets like the marching orders, or maybe you switch them. You do what you should have done with Quantumania, and have Pete stuck in 2099 and Miguel in 2027 or whatever.
Or
I don't know. I don't have a plan for that, but I just thought it'd be cool to be like, let's go different with it and be like, Spider-Man 2099 is our Sony combo movie that sets up our phase,
which is close but different enough and kind of over there to not affect anything. 2099 too, you could have some fun with the villains, and you could plant seeds for history to have Miguel be like, well, yes, I think the Maestro future, I think everything went bad when Norman Osborn ran for president and won.
Right, yeah, you kind of steal from the Justice League Unlimited future where it's like, this is our problem, this is where we're going with it. Like,
also
this
too,
is the looming threat. Yeah.
Also in 2099 too, another big villain was a little guy called Thanatos, who was who again? Oh, Rick Jones. How about that? Oh, Rick Jones continues to be important.
Yeah. Reminding you about it was 3 movies ago, but hey, like there you go. But that's your Spider-Man movie. The next one up was your pitch, which I loved, which was Hemsworth apparently can be roped into movies that he doesn't know he's part of. So here you go. You could make it your last Thor movie or not, because again, cracked mirror phase, King Thor.
We treat it like that. We treat it like King Conan. This is the last one.
Yes.
The Black Winter is coming. Thor, maybe he was driven off Earth by the Maestro. Maybe the Maestro cracked a hole in the universe and the Black Winter is coming. And he's like, you fool, you know not what you do. So it's all the Thor characters coming together for one last ride against, the spirit of entropy itself.
Yes. I love the idea of using the Black Winter and making it a movie antagonist. Again, coincidentally, Donny Cates' story, and Cates writes these things as though they're going to be 90-minute blockbusters anyway. Black Winter, of course, was defeated immediately in its own story. So you could just, and to no fan outrage, like just this Black Winter, oh my God, you could even throw in the Justice League as like a thing, like, oh, these champions, it destroys all kinds of places. Mm-hmm. But, that's it. It's just, they destroy, King Thor. Maybe his children are in it.
Oh yeah, that's fun. Ooh, the Thunder Sisters. I like the Thunder Sisters a lot, actually.
Exactly. And you
get to cast 3 really fun actresses in the role, give them their own hammers and stuff.
Yes, and because Taika Waititi obviously isn't directing this, like you get somebody who's going to let them have fun, but also not, distractingly SNL sketch the movie.
Who's the person who directed The Northman? That was a good one.
Oh yeah, that Vickers. He would never do that.
No, I know he probably wouldn't. But goddamn, Northman was fucking cool, wasn't it?
Yeah, Eggers. That's it. Yeah, no, Eggers would never. He said on record he would never direct a Marvel movie.
Yeah, they say that until the dump truck of money pulls up at their house.
I would like a Robert Eggers King Thor movie. I think it might be a little too much of a downer.
What's another real apocalyptic fantasy sci-fi movie from the last couple of years? Who we could? Who
would be great? The Tron Legacy director, Joseph Kaczynski, because he did Oblivion stuff. Like he'd be great.
Oblivion, that was the one I was thinking of. Yeah, get him.
Yeah, or the person who did Annihilation. I don't remember who that was, but
I was thinking of Annihilation and Oblivion. Wow, 2 very similar titles.
Alex Garland did Annihilation.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, so make it epic, make it dark, and
age
tragic.
Everyone up a little bit. Let them have some gray in their hair. Let them play older.
Absolutely. And then you're like, all right, it's been kind of a downer lately. You wanted to give us something that was more fun, and also utilizes some of the characters that we introduced in this last phase that we were just actually in. So what did you think?
I wanted Iron Lad and the Young Avengers because also we now have the Kang connection and everything, and we have this
Mm.
Fantastic Four stuff. Let's play in that a little bit. Let's have, Kamala Khan, maybe Sam Alexander by then, maybe a bunch of these other young characters. They also get, teleported and they get swept up Contest of Champions styles by this mysterious young kid calling himself Iron Lad. And they're like,
Yeah.
no, see, we need to train and we need to become a team to stop Maestro. We need to stop what's coming, everyone, because I have seen the future and I know what's going to happen.
Yeah. You could actually adapt that. Remember that event, that Avengers story that Romita Jr. and Bendis did, in which it played with Avengers Next,
Yes, that
and
was that
they
was kind
fought
of where my
Maestro.
head was at. Yeah.
Yeah, like, so it's something like that, but more grounded, more like our heroes go to the future. Maybe they do a little fun thing where, like, they because Cassie's on it. Cassie facilitates them stealing Pym particles. They take the time machine out of mothballs, and so they go to the future to stop.
Well, I was going to say, if she's Ant Woman by this time, maybe we'll actually introduce the other one, the younger one, the Russian one.
Oh yeah, Nadia or whatever.
Yeah,
or,
Nadia Pym, maybe we'll introduce her now,
yeah.
because we're doing cracked mirror alternate reality. So it's like, well, maybe I was Pym's, secret Russian daughter. Maybe I'm from another universe. Who knows?
Yeah. The next one was like, we have a franchise in Captain Marvel. Captain
Yes.
Marvel is a franchise, like it or not, folks. But there's an opportunity here to do something kind of really cool, but also take one of our most powerful players off the table for us to be able to set, have them show back up later in the movies. And that is because, Carol always says, like, every chance she gets, it's a big universe, a lot of stuff. Okay. So she's dealing with the Brood.
Yep, Captain Marvel Brood War. That's your movie. Maestro released them into this timeline to take Captain Marvel off the table. And again, you can build her up too, where, Maestro's like, yes, from all my research, she was integral in the big Thanos fight and everything. So for me to win in the past, I must take her off the table when she was in her prime.
Exactly. So Captain Marvel versus the Brood is a really fun, like, really dark. You could really go like full aliens with it.
Body horror nightmare.
Why not? Like, you should. You could also kill off like Talos and a bunch of other of the Skrulls that you set up, because who cares?
Talos.
Oh no. Do you know you can ADR that without wearing the teeth, right? You don't have to talk like that.
Well, actually, it's funny. I was thinking too, who should Maestro's henchman be? Because obviously for Thanos wins, he enslaved the Chitauri again. I was thinking that in the dark future, the Skrulls should actually be evil now and actually work for Maestro.
Oh, that'd be great. I'd like that too. Or a couple of like opportunistic bad guys or good guy, like Gladiator, characters or Super Skrull would be fun.
Well, that was my thing. I wanted to work in Super Skrull, and I wanted to maybe work in Hulkling too, by kind of having this connection where it's like, well, maybe this young Skrull saw him and was like, oh, I want to be Hulk.
Oh yeah, no, I like that too. That's a good one. Yeah,
MCU it up, because and then if you have Hulkling can actually be on the Iron Lad and the Young Avengers team. How about that?
Yeah, love it. The next one up, but that's Captain Marvel, and you could have this like really like tense, miserable, dark, like kind of body horror movie that has a shining light because it's Brie Larson, but like she gets through it all and then she goes home, and this feels very tacked on. So I'm very like selective. I'm like, you could take it or leave it.
This would be a post credit, I think.
Yeah, but if you think that things are going like, you're like, oh man, you're taking her off the table, but she does succeed ultimately at the end. She goes back and she is immediately sacked by this member of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants named Rogue. And this is where Rogue gets her powers, or at the very least her Captain Marvel powers.
And everyone would lose their fucking mind.
Exactly. And that's my only X-Men connection.
That's fine. Like, you could have that one.
Rogue, like, sucker punches her, takes half her powers. You've diminished Captain Marvel's like supreme level of power, and then you also can have Rogue join the X-Men and be the Rogue that we all love, and not like that awkward Rogue we had in the beginning.
The hierarchy of power in the Marvel universe just changed.
Oh my god.
And she says that and looks directly into the camera.
Yeah, and gives the people's eyebrow.
Yeah.
I think that we've been really dealing with a lot of space and a lot of like future and stuff like that. So maybe we need to ground things in our movies, because trust me, we're living in a Disney Plus reality. So we're gonna have shows as well.
Naturally, and they said they're gonna be peeling back the shows. They're not gonna do as many as they have, because if they do, they might work the VFX departments of LA to death in the next couple years.
So like we dialed it back as well. I noticed that there were 11 movies in Phase 3, and so we were like, all right, so we'll go 11 movies, but also 4 shows.
That's plenty.
But before we jump into the next one, I think we should address a couple of super chats that came in. Let me get all the way to the top. Let's see here. Mickey Veach says, am I the only one who feels like the internet is overhyping Galactus? Many want him to be the big bad of the next saga. I feel like he's good enough to be the main villain of a phase, but not a saga. I myself am down for Galactus. I've not heard anyone really clamoring for Galactus since Thanos was introduced. Like, people have talked about it, but I don't know anybody who's like, obviously Galactus needs to be the next one. He also says, and then again, if MCU can make Kang interesting, they can make Galactus as well. Galactus is interesting in and of itself.
And has always been more interesting than Kang.
Yeah, and if you want to watch any Marvel animated project like the 90s Fantastic Four or Earth's Mightiest Heroes, they deal with Galactus being a Marvel problem in a big major way that is like really fun and exciting.
And you could do some fun stuff with him too. Like you could go total Lovecraft, unknowable space monstrosity like Mark Russell did, where like just even knowing that Galactus exists fucks with your
cracks your brain.
just even looking upon him is too much, because like obviously we're doing big Earth destroying threats in like the Final Host and everything in those Eternal movies, but you can look at them and it's
you can see them.
Yeah, you can't even look at Galactus. Galactus dwarfs even them.
Yeah, and they can play with the idea that Galactus, in the comics, he comes before you as the chosen form of the Destructor from your world and stuff like that. Patrick Lawson, hi Sal and Joel. Hey Pat, what's going on, man? Thanks for being. Hobbs, hey guys, happy to see the show back. Show's been back. I think it would be interesting to go big mystical threat and then all the cosmic stuff I see suggested. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, mystical is interesting, but like Marvel doesn't trust it, which is why Doctor Strange has not had a good movie yet.
I mean, neither of the companies really trust it. I mean, shit, we just got done a Lazarus Planet event at DC, but like, and we've changed the rules of magic again. And I'm like, you're not going to remember this in a month.
No. Baggins 117. Hi guys. What about Weapon H or Doc Green? I don't want to do either of those things. By the way, I hear you. As for the previous comment, I should say we are going to do Magic is coming.
Don't worry, we didn't leave Magic. And also, technically, Doc Green was implied in that run to be like a fetal state of the Maestro, that Doc Green would eventually grow into him. So maybe in one of these movies, we'll see the larval state. We'll see him with the side cut shave there when he's kind of in between.
They should do that. They should do that with this. Like where it's like in our Hulk movie, he has the great temples.
Almost there.
Yeah. Glassman, you guys in Comic Historian have been the reason why I read comics. Thank you very much, man. As a guy who's on the outside looking in, thank you for being my telescope.
Aww.
Listen, you are not on the outside. If you're reading comics, you are on the inside. So don't worry about that. But I like your metaphor anyway. Max M, I'm glad to be able to catch the show again. Uni's been swamping me. Here's to keeping some villains alive. Also, if you saw Mando season 3, I've seen the first episode of it. I must express my love for the Swamp Thing look-alike alien. That was bizarre. We were like, why? I was like, is this Davy Jones or Swamp Thing or both?
I love that Mandalorian is like, yeah, we're going to have cool space fights and we're going to have like neo-Western shootouts and everything. But we're also going to have, fun Muppet puppets doing cute things. And we're also going to have weird Swamp Thing aliens. And I'm like, fuck, I love Star Wars.
Yeah, I love this Star Wars. I was very happy with Mando season 3, episode 1. Cat Lawyer, I've been off of MCU for so long now, but I love these ideas. I would love to see more character-based stuff that pushes the tone and themes more. Thank you very much. That's what we're thinking.
Yeah,
that's what makes Marvel beloved, is character.
Yeah.
Ray Farr, ComicPop Woo, thanks Ray. I have no hype at all for the upcoming MCU projects except for Guardians 3. So I want some crazy stuff to be explored. Well, hopefully we whet your appetite on the nuts.
We're doing it.
No creepy sexual innuendo intended, though I did definitely do that. So let's jump into it. For the next movie, we gotta tone things down. We gotta make things make a little more sense. So how about Marvel Knights?
Marvel Knights, yeah, this would be a good way to, build a new street level team, put a bunch of characters in there who we haven't seen yet, maybe incorporate some characters from the show who maybe didn't get another season, or
Yeah.
or who are a big hit and people just want to see, and you're kind of testing the waters with them in the movie. I thought it would be fun to have Shang-Chi lead this team because it seems like he's going to be a really big deal following that last phase of movies. And also because, Simu Liu is just everywhere in Canada now, so he's on my brain. He's
Well,
hosting all the shows. He's doing all the
Nice.
interviews.
Well, he's great, and also like he is their front runner. He's their only movie star. So
Yes, and he's very much trying out for that. He's like, no, let me be the guy to carry the flag in the future. I want to be the one, put it on my back.
exactly. And Shang-Chi's supposed to be street level anyway, so why not make him street level here?
Yeah, so we can get him, maybe throw Moon Knight in there, throw Misty Knight and Colleen Wing in there because they're really good and people miss them. And I figure by then we'll have worked out the Netflix bullshit by then too, and we'll have
That's over. We're
everything
good. We
worked.
have it. Put him in. Yeah, no, I'm down. I love it. So yeah, and that's just a localized issue that maybe is rippled from the Maestro effectiveness.
Well, I like the idea of them being like freedom fighters, like they're the actual force opposing Maestro, attacking, all of his different interests all over the place. So maybe we're like 5 years into the future, like Maestro has just started to be a thing, but the world hasn't totally fallen yet.
Yeah, I love it.
Maybe Maestro is empowering other villains now and other evil forces. I thought it wouldn't be interesting if we bring back a new bad guy version of Iron Patriot, or maybe even who is Harry supposed to be in the Dark Avengers?
Oh, American Son?
American Son. So Maestro's thing now is like, I am going to pervert the very idea of the Avengers. Here's American Son, everyone, because we don't really have a Captain America or an Iron Man yet. So I've created my own now using my big, brilliant banner brain.
Yeah. Well, and you can dust off Iron Patriot as well, since we've already established that's a mantle that you can bestow. And it's just sitting there waiting for somebody, and everybody's missing Iron Man and Cap. So,
That's a thing. Maybe Maestro is getting behind Norman Osborn running for politics because, if we're stealing from Dark Futures and everything, we might as well steal from some Dark Avengers too.
Well, why the hell not?
Because that's a fucking money printing title right there when we inevitably do Dark Avengers.
Yeah, which is definitely on our list. Don't worry. But before we get to Dark Avengers, because we are cresting the hill as far as the movies in the phases are concerned.
Yes.
This next one would be Doctor Strange, Way of the Weird.
Love the name.
Yep, obviously lifting from the Jason Aaron name, but I'm thinking we're MCUing it. We're not doing that. We had this idea originally. So this is the movie. Wong is Sorcerer Supreme.
Yep,
as he has
been.
There is it is Triumph and Torment, where the Vishanti are calling a contest, or at the very least they're going to select the Sorcerer Supreme,
right?
And they're like, and Wong's like, excuse me, but he's in on it. Doctor Strange's like, what's going on here? Like, what do you mean calling Wong the Sorcerer Supreme? Like, I failed, I died. And they're like, we choose who Sorcerer Supreme is. I don't know who the Ancient One thinks she was, but we're the Vishanti. We pick Sorcerer Supreme.
Or your boss's boss.
Exactly. You were not Sorcerer Supreme when you were Sorcerer Supreme, Steve. And Wong, you were Sorcerer Supreme when we picked you because there was none, but you're dying of cancer.
Oh.
And we can't have a Sorcerer Supreme who's going to die.
Did Maestro give him cancer?
Whatever. But like, it's more that it's an adaptation of The Oath meets Triumph and Torment.
Which are great stories.
So Doctor Strange is now caught in this situation where he's like, he has to face the trials of being Sorcerer Supreme as given to him by the Vishanti, but he's also like, but my friend is going to die, and I need to save him because I'm his physician. It's like,
I like that. I'm your doctor and your
exactly
friend.
So that's your movie. The movie is about Strange choosing life over title, and you introduce the Vishanti. Hell, you have a great big scene with Brother Voodoo and Nicodemus West and Doctor Doom, and Morty Fleischman, all these characters.
Can we put Ares in here too? Because we're still building up to Dark Avengers. So maybe Ares is the guy that Maestro backs in this Vishanti competition. Like, hey, go and become Sorcerer Supreme for me as part of my plan to conquer the world by 2099.
Right,
Conquer the
exactly.
universe by 2099.
Yeah. By 2099, I like that. I've got a hard target.
Got a hard target. He's got a whole like whiteboard up here
Yeah.
of like goals to reach by 2099.
Exactly. But that's your movie where it's like, this is a Doctor Strange story, and it uses that. Also, the Shanties see that like magic is under threat, and so you can include like the magic thing. Oh, and I like the idea that while Doctor Strange is like going on the quest to save Wong, while also dealing with the trials of becoming the Sorcerer Supreme, he discovers that Wong had been doing all the heinous, messed up stuff
from the Aaron years.
To help facilitate this thing. And Doctor Strange is like, oh my God, like I didn't even know you, but I still need to save you, you know?
Because again, this is the darkest phase yet. We need to add that. Maybe you could write it off later to be like, oh no, Maestro broke magic to make it that way. To force Wong into this fucked up position. Because you got to always bring it back to the big phase long
big
villain.
Thing. Exactly. So, but that's your Doctor Strange movie. Way of the Weird, and it's Triumph and Torment. It's a little bit of Way of the Weird, but it's also The Oath.
I like it.
And allows you to like, really play into the character. I think at this point, before we get to our penultimate suggestion, we should also talk about our shows.
Yes, because we're doing shows, because we got to do them too.
These shows are also, of course, supposed to be like playing with the idea of like the cracked mirror, dark future, dystopian stuff, alternate realities, but also be something people might actually want to watch, irrespective of those universes. So the first one up, because I didn't want to go X-Men, and because we've seen it already with Logan.
Yep.
Old Man Hawkeye.
Yeah, again, here's hoping Jeremy Renner will be healed and back in time for this one. And we'll probably be old enough where we won't even need makeup by the time we do.
The reality is Jeremy Renner might welcome that idea to do like a kind of like messed up Hawkeye character. But yeah, Old Man Hawkeye, that's your movie, that's your show. 8 episodes. It's just and it's like Loki in as much as like when Loki goes to the place where where the TVA dumps all their crap, so it's like it's a smorgasbord of like references and it's Road Warrior, and it's like a PG version of The Last of Us, like it's just like
really popular now, which I'm sure people would super dig. And again, you get to move that Maestro timeline up. Like this is like, okay, this is post President Osborn. Maestro was found out. He killed most of the Avengers. He dropped a bomb on New York, so New York is gone.
Well, and then you can also play up the whole like Hulk thing, with the Hulk gang and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, that'd be really good too. The Sons of the Hulk. Yeah, I like that a lot. He started handing out irradiated blood to his most loyal followers.
Yeah. So that's one show. The second show is called Punisher War Journal, and
yes, of course, it's got to be War Journal.
Yeah, and it's a 6-episode Punisher show, and it's just about Punisher. It's a street level show. You maybe make it like have an overarching villain like Kingpin or something like that.
I would say make it right after Osborn becomes president, and then have Frank be like, "Well, don't like this."
Yep, exactly. But that's your Punisher show, and it's there to establish Cosmic Ghost Rider.
That's your post-credit final episode.
Yeah. Oh no, I think you save it. No, I think it should feel like it's its own thing. Because like when you meet Cosmic Ghost Rider in your Contest of Champions movie, you don't know he's Frank Castle, except unless you're a big nerd.
Yeah, absolutely. Which we are.
But they don't show you. So you're watching this, you're like, oh my God, I love Cosmic Ghost Rider. Then maybe you're like finally getting into the MCU and you're like, I guess I'll watch this Punisher show. I mean, I'm watching all the other shows. Why not? You get to know Frank. Maybe he sounds a little familiar, but they use, stuff so you don't really recognize him.
Yeah, of course.
But then when we do inevitably in another future movie we're going to establish Cosmic Ghost Rider and who he is, we link the show and the movie.
Like it.
So it's like, oh my God, it's that guy from that show I saw.
Yeah, you thought you were watching 2 stories, but you were actually watching 1.
Right? Like you're watching this like weird street level kind of like dark political and like, thing about this guy, and then suddenly boom, it's laying the groundwork.
He also becomes a space biker working for a big green dictator at the end of time.
Exactly. The other show, Exiles, because you got to deal with like a team that knows exactly who, like this is the group, this is your Guardians, these are the guys who know exactly who Maestro is, exactly what the problem is, and they're trying to deal with it deliberately. Maybe they visit all the other movies and shows while they're going in their episodes. Fun. To try and clean them up. But Exiles is our Sliders meets, Guardians kind of show.
I like that. They're the ones who come in saying, this is not the universe as it's supposed to be. This is not the timeline. Hulk, when he defeated Maestro in the Contest of Champions, he got so pissed off, he took it out on this entire timeline.
Yeah. Exiles is our Loki or our WandaVision, where it establishes the rules and finally kind of it's that scene when Thor finally just sits the Avengers down and goes these are the Infinity Stones. This is what they do, and this is what they can do, and this is what we have to deal with them.
This is the crunchy lore show for the people who are into that sort of thing.
Or the people who are just I like this, but I don't know what's happening. How does it all connect? The Exiles will explain it to you.
Yes, in no uncertain detail.
And then for no good reason whatsoever, the Horrors of the Man Thing.
Well, because we got to have more magic. We got to have monsters, and people really liked Man-Thing, so fuck it. Man-Thing gets a show, and every episode he can hang out with another magical character.
Exactly.
And see how they're reacting to the Maestro's bullshit.
Right. And the magic show is just an opportunity for us to do Werewolf by Night again. Elsa Bloodstone could be the character that talks the most. But will
Blade have had a movie by then?
Oh yeah, no, we've already had Blade, so Blade can show up. Maybe Blade's daughter's in it. Who knows? There's a lot of opportunity for Horrors of the Man Thing, and that is our carrot to the people who were I want to work here, but I don't want to necessarily do all of that stuff, all the heavy lifting. And no problem. Magic has its own problems and monsters. So here we go.
You know what you do? Norman Osborn ran for president on an anti-monster ticket. If I get elected, I will form Hammer, and they will go out and they will hunt the Man-Things of the world. So you need not worry, people. Yeah. Don't worry.
Now, you could also, you could go full ridiculous with this, where in the Punisher show, Punisher is going to kill whoever, the president, whatever, and he is killed. He's
chopped up by the Dark Avengers.
And the Horrors of the Man Thing is about Frankencastle.
I like it. I don't know if anyone else would like it as much as I do, but I'm fucking
they'd be like, what the hell? He died? And then at the end of the Horrors of the Man Thing, they fix him.
Yeah.
And then you go, oh, okay. And then you find out later, that's the same guy.
I mean, John Bernthal being a Frankenstein, I'm down for that. Wait, he's a Frankenstein and he's the Cosmic Ghost Rider. Wow, he does a lot.
Yeah, right? I think that'd be fun. So that's those are the shows that kind of set up and support the phase. Then we got our last two movies. Obviously, Joel's been teasing it the entire time. Dark Avengers is number 2.
I mean, yeah, if you're doing dark, cracked mirror, end of the world, everything is fucked up, everything is wrong, you gotta do Dark Avengers. And that's why we peppered, American Sun and Ares and everything else through the other ones. In fact, hey, O'Grady would be on this team too. In fact, hey, you should have Osborn at the end of those movies doing the Nick Fury saying, I'd like you for a new initiative.
Yeah, an evil Nick Fury post-credit sequence would be great.
You're my kind of bastard, Eric.
Yeah. Hell, you could you could put Rogue on the Dark Avengers, or you could
yeah, she could take the Moonstone part.
Right. Somebody needs to join from the Marvel Knights situation, but you could for the space stuff, like King Thor, you could have Cosmic Ghost Rider enlist somebody who shows up for Dark Avengers.
Yeah, exactly. That would be your fun. Oh, maybe we should have a Winter Soldier where he stayed Russian or something like that.
Oh yeah, that'd be fine.
So we can have an evil Bucky, because we haven't really had any of that yet.
Exactly. But Dark Avengers is just it's here to this is getting worse before it gets better. Is this here to stay? Oh my God.
Exactly. Here's the team now. They're all evil. They're all bad guys.
Right. And that's that movie. And it's
maybe we'll get Venom Spider-Man in there. Maybe we'll do something with that.
Yep. I feel like they're not going to do that. I feel like Sony's going to be like, no, people get confused if you put Venom in there.
You know what we'll finally put Scorpion on the team. We'll put Cartel Scorpion on there. We'll give him a suit, and we'll finally pay that off from Spider-Man forever ago.
Yes, he could get that piece of Venom that came off in the post-credits scene.
Hey, there you go. Gargan's Venom. Hey, he's our
Venom. There we go. And then the last one is our culmination point, and that would be, and people may have wondered why did you call Hulk Contest of Champions? Because this is when we call our next movie, our last movie of the phase, Avengers: Future Imperfect. it's too good a title. You
Coming
can't,
summer 2027, Avengers Future Imperfect.
and that's just everybody fighting Maestro.
To try and put it all back to the way it was. And again, it'll be a team movie, but it'll all be about Hulk defeating himself and putting it right and knowing like, oh shit, did I cause this? And maybe we can even play with that thing they do in time stories like this, like, oh no, on going on this adventure, am I creating a self-fulfilling time loop where I'm going to become Maestro anyway?
Right, exactly. I'm a little afraid of the of time again, but I also think that this is different enough where
We're not messing with all of time. We're messing with the one main timeline because Maestro was pissed off about it.
exactly.
Like again, I want Maestro's motivations to be actually much smaller than Thanos's and Kang's. No, I'm mad at one person and I took it out on one whole world.
Right, exactly. Yeah, everyone's gonna feel like my rage on this one very intimate problem I have.
You thought I was mad before, but no rage like the rage of the Maestro.
Exactly. Boom. There you go. Dante Namikaze says, since Kang is in the movies now, Marvel will deal with Kang Time Baby. I hope so. C-Top 1106, pardon the tangent. How would you involve the comic creators in this phase? Simply pay them fairly or have them involved in making this phase work? Love the show and your channels. I have no control over that, but I would say, like, I mean, if we're making it, as long as we're dreaming, I'll have a pony. Like, sure.
I mean, we
we'll
stole like
sure.
5 ideas from Donny Cates, so sure, we'll give him a credit, a special thank you credit, and we'll, invite him to the premiere, I guess.
I mean, that's the Marvel MO right now. I mean, like, sure, you know what? Work in like a a revenue split for people who influence.
Oh, you know what? Donnie can have a cameo. He can be there in the Contest of Champions. He could be there, one of the people cheering, yay! Yeah. So he can get some residuals off the back.
Exactly. That's certainly how they work it right now. Panda go crazy. ComicPop always gets paid. Thank you very much, Panda Go. Especially when you bring on my favorite co-host. Thanks for all the hard work entertaining us nerds. Thank you very much, Panda.
I'm warmed.
Grumpy Goat. Terrence Howard is Iron Patriot.
Oh, man.
A roadie brought in from an alternate universe. I think he would say no.
Yeah, I think, and also, do we really want to work with Terrence Howard now? I think there's a reason they stopped hiring him and things.
Nikki T. Morty Fleischman returns. Yeah, damn right. What's it about them? Wongers will always be my source of I'm glad you have one.
Oh, we got to work her in there too to weigh the weird somehow. Maybe she's one of the Vishanti at the end of it.
Oh my god!
Hey, I was secretly a Vishanti all along. I was only pretending to be dumb.
She could be like flirting with Ned.
That's fun too.
The infamous Mike Manhattan, a Secret War movie using the Thunderbolts. We're going to see that already.
Yeah, it's coming, probably.
Grumpy Goat, Frankie Castle is an animated show. Think 90s Conan.
Ooh, I like that a lot too, actually.
I don't know if you can get an entire season out of that.
No, you know what? When they inevitably do a what if season, that will be our what if for Punisher. Yes. What if Frankencastle? What if he got chopped up to bits trying to kill President Osborn and then hung out with Man-Thing and the monsters?
Right, exactly. So that would be the phase, and I don't know what we call it because like we're
Dark
not. It's not deep. Well, it's yeah. I was gonna say it's dark. It's not DC, so we're not naming these things.
Yeah. Well, but they kind of did though. The Infinity Saga and the Kang Dynasty that we're in right now.
Yeah, I like Dark Ages. That's cool.
Dark Ages, because it's also kind of a thing that came out not that long ago.
I don't know. It's a name that we could steal. Love it. Yeah. So that's it. It's just very much like a go for broke. Here's something weird. Let's try this. Why the hell not?
Let's scare people into thinking we might break it and keep it this way.
Yeah, exactly.
And then when we inevitably put it all back at the end, people will be happy. It's the new Coke effect. Right.
Exactly. Well, then the next one you do, because you just had like this insane smattering of Marvel, of what you knew and what you've seen. Then you go mutants and Marvels. Then you go like then you do
the Age of the Atom.
Exactly. Age of Atom. I mean, like you just go X-Men. And I think that, if they want to be patient, in the future, I imagine we'll see phases that do look like a blend of what we've seen and X-Men, where it'll be like, it'll go like
seems to be the idea where it's like, all right, we don't want to go broke on this. We don't want to make people hate it. So let's just kind of weave it in.
So like each phase starting after Secret Wars, if I have to guess, and I'd like to hear your theory as well, is that like it's an Avenger, a Spider, a mutant, and an event, and then a movie, like and then a team up.
Probably.
like,
And then it also matters too on, what's popular. Like maybe that Blade movie will do big box office, and maybe that will take like the Black Panther spot. And so we'll have a big that'll be like a big event movie every year. Or maybe like Fantastic Four blows all the fucking doors off and people
I
want
hope
more
so.
of that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I want to see like a Fantastic Four movie like every other year if they're gonna make them, because it's basically like getting an Avengers movie.
Yeah, and then we'll get like, hey, maybe Namor will get a spin-off, maybe we'll get Fantastic Four and Namor, we'll get Fantastic Four and the Inhumans.
Yeah, I would like that a lot. I think that'd be okay with me, especially because of how successful it was, like how good Namor was in those.
Oh, he killed it.
That movie. So yeah, that's our pitch. It's not like I will not be disappointed when they don't do this.
Same, but it was a fun thought exercise that we put together in 24 hours.
Exactly. Yeah, that's right. It's just a straight up thought exercise that has nothing to do with anything. It's just
hey, major studios, if you need idea guys, we threw this together in 24 hours. If you gave us $1 million each, imagine what we could put together for you.
$1 million in 3 days. Trust me, you will get a dope phase, and it will be like comprehensive, and it'll have ramifications. Like I guarantee we could come up with something better than James Gunn.
And it'll be nuanced and thematic.
And it'll be like homaged, and then we'll do what that commenter said earlier, and we'll make sure that the creators get their money.
Also that.
Especially because here's the thing, they don't that's not how that works. Like they're not going to pay them. But they also need to they screw people out of money just by saying that like huge blockbusters didn't make any profit.
Oh, yeah. But you made $1 billion. Not enough though.
Did we though? I mean, like, can you prove it?
Point to it. Point to on the doll where we made $1 billion.
I don't know. Every Variety article I saw. Yeah. Bite me.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there you have it. We want to thank you so much for hanging out with us. We're really lucky to have you. If you want to support us more, you can go to youtube.com/CapeJoel or go to patreon.com/ComicPop or subscribe to this channel. Click the like button, it helps us out. And we want to thank our super chatters for sponsoring today's show and keeping the riffraff out of the pot, so to speak. And let us know which movie out of this collection you want to see the most.
Yes, please.
Looking forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments, and we'll see you guys next time with another episode. I'm Sal.
I'm Joel.
So long, everybody.